practicing social distancing.
Thank you, everybody. Right, so hopefully now we are going to be moving to the panel, and I see there is a host of questions in there. The panel, it will be Shipa Khan, Roshona Ara Reza, Shamel Chowdhury, Claire Curry, and Dr. Safdar, and myself, of course, and Sandy. So shall we go to the panel? Do you want to, Sandy, do you want to put forward the question?
Okay, how do you make sure you communicate the information with people of BAME communities who don't speak English properly? Is this a significant barrier, especially with the elderly?
That's probably to you and Shipa.
Hi everyone. So my name is Shipa Ahmed Khan. I also work for Portsmouth City Council with the Independence and Wellbeing team. The team actually has a team called the BAME team, which helps people from Black, Asian and minority ethnic communities. And Roshanara is my colleague in that team as well. And our role really is to help anyone from any communities with access to services. If there's anything that you don't understand, you're welcome to contact our team and we can support you with that. We can signpost you to other relevant services as well. I think for me it's to urge the communities and the leaders in communities to get in contact with services. You know, we're here, use us as a resource, use us as a way to support the communities better and to find out more information. And particularly, I think I'd like to say also the Hive have been doing exceptional services in the community, and that's a resource again that you can link in with, get your organization registered with them. We have a WhatsApp group that we give out lots and lots of information. So please, just continue to engage and then we will try and support you as best as we can.
Super. One of the questions there was about elderly people not being able to do it, and I think there was a particular concern about that. Is there a ready-made leaflet or a link that people can go to so they can even start the process of talking to you, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think there are quite a few translated leaflets available, and again we can maybe have a link from the Hive website, so if people want to access that. There's a lot of public health messages as well in different languages. I don't know, Roshna, if you wanted to mention that you were doing some phone calls as well.
Yeah, I've been helping. So Roshna Reza, I've been helping with the vaccine rollout calls, and I've also noticed that there are people in the community. Sometimes, if you give them the direction to say like the vaccine's been taken at QA Hospital to go and have the vaccination, some of the response I received was, "Oh, I don't know where it is," or "I've never been there," or "My husband's at work, so how do I get there?" So there was that kind of issues. So it's about then communicating. There is language line that we can access GP surgeries. They can access translation services. If they go to the GP, they have access to that. So that way they can communicate. There's also leaflets that we're happy, if we are contacted, then we're happy to inform people. There are local community groups, like one of them is the Chat of Vichai group that a lot of people access, and there are lots of volunteers there who are always happy to help people. And I'm happy to put our service number and the Chat of Vichai details on the chat group. So if people are willing to access help from there, then please feel free to take those numbers.
There's one, are the vaccines safe for BAME people with beta thalassemia or sickle cell anemia, or are trait carriers of these conditions?
Yes, I think it is. I wouldn't be able to quote the evidence, but we have been given like a list of exclusions, and it's not in there unless Claire knows otherwise, but it's definitely, as far as I'm aware, it's safe.
Yes, and just to add to that, I think those conditions are listed in the clinically vulnerable groups as eligible for the vaccination. So yes.
There's one question. I had a reaction with the flu jab. Also, I had COVID-19 in November. Is it safe to take the vaccine?
So again, if you had COVID-19 in November, 28 days, you should be safe from that point of view. If you had reaction to flu jab, depends on how severe the reaction was. If it was an anaphylaxis reaction, which means that there were breathing difficulties, lip swelling, or you required hospital admission, then you can't have the Pfizer one, but you should be safe to have the Oxford one.
Very useful information, that one.
If you've already had the vaccine and, for example, so has your mother, why can't you then spend time together?
I'm happy to pick that one up if you like. I can completely understand the concern, and you know, it is a difficult one to get your head around. But so essentially, when you know, the virus enters your body, there's a few steps which need to happen for that virus to then make you unwell. So it needs to get into your body, it then needs to replicate, and that's, you know, when the virus replicates, it then, you know, causes disease and can make you really unwell. So the vaccine stops making you really unwell, but it doesn't necessarily stop the virus getting into your body. If that's trying to explain it in sort of vaguely understandable terms. So if you have the virus, you can then pass it on to someone else. So vaccines can work in different ways, and the absolute ideal would be for the vaccine to stop it being transmitted from one person to the next two. We just don't know yet what that looks like. The trials that have been done weren't set up to look at that. So, you know, it's an unknown. So because it's an unknown, it's still really important that in order to stop passing it from one person to the other, that, you know, we still continue to practice social distancing and all the other measures. I hope that goes some way towards explaining.
Thank you, Claire. That was a good explanation. Dr. Safdar, two quick ones I saw there that I do need. One is, will the vaccine affect my DNA or similar, if you see or gene or DNA? And the other thing is, why do we need 2 jabs?
So no, the vaccination will not affect your DNA. There are complicated details on how it works. And yes, I understand from sort of even my parents' point of view, when you read genes, DNAs, etc., you get a bit twitchy about what exactly is going on. But the wordings have been used in the explanation just to explain the process, but by no means it implies that it's actually going to come and change your DNA. So that's a no. Sorry, what was the second one, Lord Mayor?
Okay, why 2 jabs? And do you need I'll add another one then. Do you need a blood test afterwards? Somebody's asked.
So I think 2 jabs again. So when in very simple terms, when I said that you take the vaccine, it's your immune response, so your body's ability to fight it. If the first time, it is about 70% for the Oxford, but the second time, if you get re-exposure with the same vaccination or with the same bug, your body again responds the second time and your immunity gets a second boost. So that's why if you're getting exposed artificially twice, you build better immunity. That's why you need to have 2 jabs. And that's been researched on how many jabs, how far along on different stages or during different trials. So that's why, yes, you do need the second vaccination.
The other one was about taking a blood test for antibodies after you've had the vaccine. I mean, I don't think that's a regular thing. I think the assumption is you have antibodies.
Yes. So you don't take, it's not a regular thing that you take a blood test for antibodies after vaccination. How long do the antibodies stay? That's a different question altogether. I think we are still looking into that, but no, we're not doing blood tests after a vaccination to see if you've got antibodies.
And the final one on that particular one. Sorry, let me just have I'm just trying to find it. Okay. Normally, if as the vaccine is for prevention, why, if somebody's already infected, will they need a vaccine? So there's a similar one, you know, if you've already had the vaccine, right. So let me start with, if you've, as it's for prevention, why, if somebody's been infected, will they need a vaccine?
So I think it was initially when we started getting COVID-19 infections, a lot of us went forward to get our antibody tests, and not all of us developed antibodies, and there's not enough evidence that everybody ends up getting the same sort of immune response. So if you've had the infection, that necessarily means that you've got lifelong immunity. So that's why you do need to have the vaccination, and potentially I think we're looking into doing this a long-term thing by getting vaccinations possibly yearly eventually, so that you make sure that your immune response is primed and there's a talk about vaccinations being made to address different variants and that are coming forward. So that's why you do need the vaccination after 28 days after getting the infection. Not sure. Do you like
Okay,
something
for the
to add
general,
there? Sorry.
thank you for that. For the general panel there, somebody on the general panel, maybe yourself, Claire, or whatever. Is it possible to increase the priority of giving the vaccines to the BAME community as they are in a higher risk group? I'm not sure if you can answer that, but perhaps you can.
I can certainly give it a go. So I mean, I'm actually really interested, I suppose, we probably don't have time now, but to hear from people what would help in terms of ensuring that, you know, access is helpful, really. I know that there are, I guess, unintended consequences of prioritising particular groups. You know, there is risk of stigma and so on if people are sort of, you know, put forward as this is a group to prioritise. There are the way the vaccination programme is being set up. So health and social care staff are a priority group, and actually there's quite a large proportion of health and social care staff from Black and minority ethnic groups. So that is one way in which you know, it is helping, if you like, but clearly that does not reach everyone. So I'm, you know, if there is an opportunity for feedback from this webinar, one of the things I'd really like to understand further is what people would like to see. I can't obviously make promises, but I am involved in some of those discussions, and I would really value insight from what you'd like to put forward.
Thank you for that, Claire. I've got a few here that I've copied in if I can quickly fire them, because I know people want to get things answered. And I saw hands up, so I'll try to get to them. Typically, I'll give a few. First of all, can I refuse the vaccination? Another one sort of similar is, why can't we choose which injection we would like? So can we refuse the vaccination, and why can't we choose which injection we would like? I don't know if somebody would want to take that, Claire or Shamil? Shamil?
Sorry, could you repeat it again?
Okay, yeah. First of all, why can't we choose which injection we would like, and can we refuse the vaccination?
Okay, thank you, Lord Mayor. As far as I know, vaccine is not mandatory, but I will say we should have a vaccine, because if we want a normality, this is the only one option to get a vaccine. Number two is, vaccine is very important things at the moment, and you can see the other countries lobbying, fighting for the vaccine as well. So it's hard to ensure the particular vaccines for you. Another one is Pfizer vaccine, you have to keep in the certain temperature. So it's not easy to carry from one place to other place as well. So I think the all vaccines are good. Maybe some percentages, some low and some high, but all of them are good. And I think we should take which one is being offered. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I've got a couple or two, then I'll move to the raised hands on that one. So what is the latest on the South African variant and the current vaccines that are being given? I think that one's a very difficult one for all of us, because that is still current news. Unless somebody wants to give
make a comment.
Yeah, please go for it.
So the vaccines that we currently have are safe and effective. They are effective against, you know, that there are a variety of variants that have originated in the UK, and also the variant that's originated in South Africa, which is obviously been in the news recently. So essentially, the vaccines are safe and effective against range of variants. One of the really good things about the vaccines is that they can be changed, altered to address new variants quite quickly. That's been shown by, you know, how quickly these vaccines are being developed, but also in the manufacturing process, it is really easy to change them should they need to be. What might be on people's minds is what was in the media over this last sort of few days or the weekend, where there was a study which was reported, which was looking at the South Africa variant in South Africa. I think it's just important to note that it was quite a specific population group that it was being tried in. So while it didn't necessarily show, it was still effective, but it didn't necessarily show as good results as with the dominant strain in the UK. It's not necessarily what we need to worry about, because it was a different context being looked at in a different sort of study group answering a specific question. So the vaccines we have are very effective against the dominant strain we have currently circulating in the UK.
Thank you, Claire. I don't want to overrun too much, but these are important questions. The final one, I think, unless anybody wanted to insist, is that I've managed to capture is I still don't understand why it is still possible to pass the virus to others even after the vaccination. But then there was a question, well, not a question, a clarification, where somebody said, please, can you clarify that the vaccine does not eliminate the chances of getting the virus, but that it increases your chances of fighting it if caught. People need to be mindful and aware that you cannot freely mix if the vaccine is not preventative, as mentioned earlier. So in a way that answers it, which is the vaccine trains your body, but the jury is still out whether you still can get the virus, but it doesn't impact you as much. Is that the correct interpretation, panel? Anybody on the panel? Have I got that right?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
I think you've been listening, Lord Mayor.
Okay, then Abdul Karim, you had your hand up first. Abdul Karim, if you want to put your mic on and ask your question. You're still on mute, Abdul Karim. Okay. Abdul Karim, go ahead.
Hello, hi, good evening, Lord Mayor, and thank you for having us, Sandy and Doctor, as all of you. Yes, it's vital. It's getting the vaccine is most important. But it's my questions first to the doctor. Either the vaccines changing the mechanism for the DNA, and also the second question, if I have the first dose, am I need the second dose? Is it important? And also the last question is for Shiva and Sandy. Are you happy the way you reaching the BMEs to understanding and be involved with the vaccine? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abdul Karim, for the questions. I think the first question that you said about DNA, no, there's no evidence that it changes your DNA. It prompts you to create an immune response, which is through your genetics, but that in no way means that it's actually going to physically change your DNA. So that's a no. For the second jab, again, the first jab boosts your immunity. It's just, if you can imagine, repeated exposure. So if you're coming into circumstances, initially you've got a bit of response, you get a bit of learning, and the second exposure, you get more learning. Again, that's how our body responds. The first time you get the jab, you get a bit of immune response, a defense mechanism. The second time you get greater. So the greater benefit, the 90% benefit, is received after the second jab. So it's absolutely crucial to have the second jab, and to get the full benefit. I think after that, it's cheaper, isn't it?
Yes, sorry, thank you. Thank you, Abdul Karim, for your question. In terms of the answer to that, short answer, no. I'm never happy. There's always more that we can do in trying to engage with the community. As you can understand, we're all in lockdown, so it's very difficult to do it by the means that we've done it previously, going out into community groups and linking in with groups and giving talks. Hence why we've organized something like this today to try and target as many people as possible. This sort of work doesn't end, community work is there, you're not going to reach everyone, it's never going to be 100%, we do the best we can with what we have. What I would urge is that people on the call, there were 75 participants at one point, is for you to take the message back. Go back, tell your families, tell other community members that it's safe to take the vaccine. You've been on this Zoom call. You know, this is recorded for a purpose. And again, the purpose is that we want to try and reach other people that can't access Zoom. We can share it on our WhatsApp groups and different platforms. So yes, in terms of community work, you know, it's an endless sort of a topic. You know, there's no end to it. You're constantly engaging with communities, but all I can say is that we need communities to engage with us as well. And if you find there's a gap, come and tell us, and we can try and fill that gap and try and support you better.
Can I please add to that? Sorry, Sheep and Roshna are doing a brilliant job, but I think it's every individual's responsibility as well. And please take, you know, and encourage people to take ownership of spreading the message, please. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I would agree. I would agree with both of them, absolutely. And it is that bit about not everybody can get online and watch this, but if we then depend on each one of you telling one other person, so one person tells another person, that's the way that this sort of message can get through. Thank you.
And can I just add something, Lord Mayor? Sorry, just to say that we can only bridge those gaps. We can only build bridges through the gaps if everyone works together. This is not just individual or community issue. It's a worldwide issue. So we all need to work together to save our loved ones and ourselves. So thank you everyone for joining in. It just shows how important it is for the community, for everyone that came on today. Thank you very much.
All right, before I move to Asghar, who's patiently had his hand up, Abdul Karim, as a good friend of mine and former member of PRINO with me, I think it is really important, and I am also got a BAME background, I'm half Chinese, so in that category at risk, and I'm really concerned for our mixed diversity in Portsmouth. We have a fantastic mixed diversity, and somewhere along the line, somewhere we have lost our sense of getting good sound advice from the people in our community who are all in good positions that we strive our children and our family to be in, and we're not taking their advice. We would prefer to listen to tittle tattle on social media, which mostly is unqualified. And part of our issue is, as leaders of our group, Abdul Karim, and you know, you're a leader in your group, I would hope you can help me and help the city and help your community by taking forward and helping share the important message here, which is about we need to protect all ourselves. And if there is a single point of failure, a single chink in the armor, that's where people, you know, we will all fall. And this is why it's very important that we get the message out there. So Abdul Karim, offline, you can get in touch with me if you can help out as your friend. That'd be great. Thank you. Asghar.
Thank you so much, Lord Mayor. This is Shah. Actually, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for all the organizers who organized this event, which is very good. And obviously, this is a very good opportunity for the BAME community. As a member of the BAME community, first of all, I want to say thank you to Shipa Khan and Roshan Ara, who did try their best, and obviously trying their best to spread the word in the community. And but what we need to do, I think we need from your side a bit of more support to this, to run a heavy campaign about the awareness in the community. And this is my responsibility. This is everyone's responsibility to do so. But your support is very, very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. So I don't think I've missed any questions, and I can't see any other hands up. Sandy, can you confirm that?
Shamel, we've got one more hand up. Yeah.
Yeah. Shamel, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. Thank you, Lord Mayor. I absolutely agree with you what you said. I think everyone has a role to do something in this pandemic. We are passing a very, very hard time. First of all, I'd like to thank both of them, Shipa and Roshan Ara. I'm so proud of them. They're doing a really fantastic job. I wanted to say a few things. we need to more campaign about the vaccine, not about, because the coronavirus, we know about the coronavirus little more or less, but important is the vaccine. We need to get vaccine. So we need to create a more campaign, and I'm happy to work under your lead as a mayor of Portsmouth City Councils. Can we start another campaign, whether on the social media, whether making a documentary along with our two brave women, Shipa and Roshanara, and others as well. So social media is a very useful thing at the moment, and all myths are bombarded in social media. So we need to do something in social media against the old myths. That's why I did create this video, and I did create another video along with Shah, Pooja, and Mr. Diab, 4 different languages, which is Arabic, Bengali, Urdu, and Hindi languages. So I'm happy to work with you, and I think you should take the lead and encourage people to get vaccinated. Thank you.
I'm very happy to. Thank you for that. That's very good. I'm very happy to. Obviously, I can take the lead, but I need pointing in the right direction. So all of you on here, Shiva, Roshanara, we and Dr. Safdar, all of us here have a responsibility. My office is always open. I've been requested to chair this and come in, and I immediately took this up because I fully understand that we need to get to the parts that have been difficult to get to before and show our representation of our various cultures here. Very important. My office is open. People just point me in the right direction and help prepare the program. And I think I'm prepared to do that. No problem whatsoever, etc. on that one. Right, I'm going to bring this to a close. I just want to first of all thank the speakers and the panel today. Sandy for helping host this to make sure it goes very well on behalf of the Hive. Shipa for helping out and also helping organize this. Roshanara, have I got that right? Okay, Shamil and Claire and Dr. Safdar, Miriam. Okay, thank you very much for your time and trouble. And thank you all for taking part. And I hope we can do a bit more of this. And please do get in touch with people. You can clearly see there are experts and people within our diverse community who want to help and point us in the right direction. There can be no doubt that ignorance is not a good excuse, which is let's go out and find the real reasons, and we need to move forward because it affects all of us. I'm here at home in a bubble, and I'm trying to make sure I keep myself safe until it's my turn to have the vaccine. So it's very important for all of us. We all have family. We're all trying to do the right thing. We should do it on behalf of not just us, but our family members, because there's no doubt this virus doesn't care what you believe in. If you don't have the vaccine, okay, it will potentially get you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.